I am Inioluwa Adekoya, and with me this morning I have the Punch newspaper, the Daily Post newspaper, the Open newspaper, and the Nation newspaper. Right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you more headlines coming your way shortly. Glad to have you back. The program you're onto is In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning from the Open newspaper, talking Remembrance Day. Ayedatiwa unveiled 50 million naira lifeline for fallen heroes' windows. Still on the Open newspaper, talking carbon market. Tinubu targets $3 billion annual inflow by 2030. I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. EFCC pressured me to indict a Mefili, court defendant alleges. Still on the Punch newspaper, NIPR defends federal government $9 million US lobbying deal. On the Punch newspaper, Abdulrazak kicks as PDP alleges poor governance. Still on the Punch newspaper, Natasha hails Tinubu as court strikes out criminal charges. Still talking headlines, a laughing kicks as Makinde installs Ladoja chairman of Oba's Council. And on the Punch newspaper, talking Rivers crisis, Assembly shelves sitting amid rumored plot against Speaker. Still on the Punch newspaper, talking 2027, Atiku's son joins APC, backs Tinubu's re-election. And to the Daily Post newspaper, LIRS sets January 31st deadline for 2025 annual tax returns. Still on the Daily Post newspaper, Biafra groups remove Simon Ekpa as leader. And on the Nation newspaper, Asu Konua Lord's negotiation deal. Still on the Nation newspaper, Council lists conditions to join APC. And finally, on the top of the list of our headlines this morning, on the Nation newspaper, court strikes out defamation, cybercrime charges against Akpoti Uduagan. Yes, and with that, we'll take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you more headlines and more stories. Glad to have you back. Beginning on the top of the list of our stories this morning, talking Remembrance Day on the Open newspaper. Ayedatiwa unveils 50 million naira lifeline for fallen heroes' widows. And now to the details. Ondo State Governor Dr. Lucky Orimison Aiyedatiwa has paid tribute to Nigerian fallen military heroes and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to welfare and empowerment of their widows at the grand finale of the 2026 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration held at the government's cenotaph at Alagbaka, Akure. Addressing participants during the final parade, wreath-laying ceremony, and empowerment of widows, Aiyedatiwa emphasized that the nationwide celebration, which held concurrently across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, represented a high form of respect for fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice, while also honoring living veterans and serving military personnel dedicated to defending Nigeria's territorial integrity. The governor further stressed that the ceremony was not merely about remembrance, but also about honor and empowerment, particularly for widows of fallen heroes whose resilience continue to inspire society. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Open newspaper with the headline Aiyedatiwa unveils 15 million lifeline for fallen heroes' widows. Still on the Herb newspaper, talking carbon market, Tinubu targets $3 billion annual inflow by 2030. And now to the details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a full rollout of Nigeria's carbon market framework, signaling a bold shift towards climate-driven economic growth and a projected $3 billion annual inflow by 2030. The development was announced recently by the special assistant to the president on social media via his verified ex-handle at the Olusegun, who said the decision would position Nigeria as a major contender in the global carbon trading market. The framework of the nation's report is designed to stimulate large-scale trading in emission allowances across strategic sectors of the economy, unlocking fresh income streams for the country while reinforcing its climate actions agenda. As part of the policy, the federal government is set to establish a national carbon registry, mandate emission reporting by companies, and introduce phase compliance measures consistent with Nigeria's climate obligations. This includes interim emission reduction targeted by 2035 and long-term objective of net zero emissions by 2060. To support investors' confidence, the framework offers robust incentives, including up to 10 years of tax exemption on carbon credit earnings, accelerated capital allowances for investment in low-carbon assets, and research and development deductions linked to emission reduction initiative. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline Tinubu targets $3 billion annual inflow by 2030. And now I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. EFCC pressured me to indict Emefiele, co-defendant alleges. And now to the details. A defense witness, Nnamdi Ofial, has recently told the Special Offense Court in Ikeja the officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission attempted to coerce his client, Henry Omole, into implicating former central bank governor Godwin Emefiele. Ofial will represent Omoile, the second defendant on the ongoing $4.5 billion and 2.8 million naira fraud trial of Emefiele, made the allegation while testifying in a trial within a trial ordered by Justice Rahman Oshodi to determine whether Omoile's statement to the EFCC was given voluntarily. He alleged that the EFCC investigators offered indictments, including the promise of bail and possible non-prosecution, if Omoile agreed to provide incriminating evidence against Emefiele. Emefiele and Omoile are facing charges relating to accepting gratification, receiving gifts through agents, corruption, and fraudulent receipts. of property. The EFCC also accused them of conferring corrupt advantage on association, contrary to the Corrupt Practices Act 2000. Both men have pleaded not guilty. At the recent hearing recently, Ophir testified that the head of the EFCC interrogation team assured Omoile that cooperation would earn him leniency. He further alleged that the investigators conducted the interrogation in a restrictive question and answer format, refusing to allow Omoile to write responses that did not align with their expectation. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, EFCC pressured me to indict Emefiele, co-defendant alleges. Still on the Punch newspaper, NIPR defends federal government $9 million US lobbying deal. And now to the details. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations has defended the federal government's decision to engage lobbying services in the United States, insisting that the move does not amount to criminal offense but falls within the scope of legitimate public relation practice. Clarification was made recently by the NIPR president, Dr. Ike Laku, during the official presentation of the first Nigerian Reputation Perception Index Report 2025 at the National following the detention of Ekpa in Finland. He also served as the BRGRE finance minister and was the organization's long-term representative in Washington, D.C., where he worked closely with the United States government alongside BRGRE lobbyists. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Biafra Group removes Simon Ekpa as leader. Still on the Nation newspaper, ASU's Konua Lord's renegotiation deal. And now to the details. The president of the Academic Staff Union, Professor Chris Piwuna, has praised the federal government's presentation of renegotiated agreements between the union and the government. This happened as the Congress University academics acknowledged the conclusion and renegotiation process between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities in 2025. The new report, Konoa noted, arose from the 2009 agreement that had remained unresolved for many years. But Piwuna said that they were still pending issues, which he described as internal militating against the progress and survival of the university system. The ASU president listed these as the government's persistent encroachment into the autonomy of the universities. Piwuna further stressed that the university autonomy is universally recognized as a cornerstone of a functional higher educational system, adding that in Nigeria, although university autonomy is recognized in principle and partially entrenched in law, its practical implementation remains weak. He said, and I quote, "Finally, we are optimistic that the agreement will be implemented in totality by the federal government, and there still exists a pessimistic side, looking at our history with the government and poverty of sincerity. It is our belief that the union would not need to issue a strike threat for the full implementation of the 2025 ASU FGN renegotiated agreement." If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline, ASU Konoa Lord renegotiation deal.